Okay, it's recording me. So now let me see if I can put the camera. Okay. Let me open settings. It's still recording me, by the way. Okay. It's clearly on screen time. Gosh, I'm sorry. There we go. Okay. It's there now, so we can probably use the camera now. Let me go back. Alrighty.
Go farther on full synthetic with AutoZone.
Oh,
Right now,
sorry.
you can get 5 quarts of STP full synthetic.
Sorry about that. Okay. Let's see if it can now work. There we go. It can now work. There we go. It can now work. There we go. It's not working. Okay. It's working now. So, I think we should react to something. How many minutes do I have left? Oh, it doesn't count the minutes, but okay. Camera's so slow. Okay. We should react to something. Let me check on YouTube. Oh my gosh, okay. This is gonna be my first time reacting to something. We should probably react to something. I don't know, something cringe. Let me see if I could search it up. Okay. My phone is here, so I can easily, like. Oh shoot. Wait a minute. Hold on, give me a sec. Let me see. Okay, so it's. I don't actually know. Oh shoot. Oh my gosh. Get that out. We'll restart that. Press the R. Cringe videos. Let's just put cringe videos. Because I don't know. I already reacted to all of these, which is kind of pretty funny and really, really weird. Especially this one's. A oh, it's original. So why don't we just react to this one? It's a YouTube short, but okay. Or what about if we just react to this react to an MSA video? Let me just erase that MSA. Okay. Alright. We're going to react to one. I'm trying to see which one should we react. We should react to this one, I guess. I haven't reacted to all of these, but okay, let's react to this one.
And boost mobile into a legit nationwide 5G network. Oh.
Oh my gosh, this is so loud. I'm so sorry.
My moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. The tightness,
This
stinging,
sucks.
pain.
So loud.
Hi, I'm Lillian, and I have
Hi,
the
Lillian.
creepiest story to tell you. But before that, please like and subscribe. I was taken in by my grandma when I was 8 years old. She told the best stories and baked fresh chocolate chip cookies every day, and life was swell until she fell down some stairs and broke her hip. So I was sent to live with my rich uncle. He was a businessman, and with him, I was having a pretty good time. But soon after, Uncle's business started having problems. He went bankrupt and then lost his house. So I was packed off to my aunt's place. Aunt was cool, and she even had a dog who was adorable. The three of us had fun. Well, until the dog ate something and fell really sick. He didn't survive. Aunt ran away to India to heal her heart, and I ran out of relatives and ended up in an orphanage. It wasn't so bad there, and I even made some friends. But then they all got adopted, and I was the only one left behind.
Don't be disheartened, Lily. I'm sure there's a perfectly good family waiting for you out there.
Not a lie, that is
I
pretty
really
sad.
doubt it. I was convinced that I was just an unlucky
Damn.
person who was destined to be alone. And as
Are
time
those
passed, so
how
did
many
my
days
hope
was she
for
there?
forming a family. But
That's
then,
crazy,
a
bro.
week after my 17th birthday, something unexpected happened. The warden called me into her office and told me that a family wanted to adopt me, and I had to leave for their place the same night. I found it strange because the family hadn't even met me, but the warden said they'd gone through my file and made their decision. As I packed my things to leave, my heart swelled with happiness at the thought of having my own family. But when I reached the address I'd been given, my heart dropped to my stomach. It was a rundown motel located next to a cemetery. Tall iron gates, huge windows, moldy walls. The place looked terrifying. Just then, the main door opened, and this lady walked out who looked like she was dressed up for a Halloween party.
Hello, you must be Lillian. I'm Mrs. Edwards. I'm sorry we couldn't come to pick you up. My husband and I had a little emergency.
That's okay. It wasn't. Shh.
Do you smell that? Looks like it's going to rain any second. Why don't you get your stuff inside and I'll show you around? Oh, and did I say how happy I am to see you? I would smile, but I have this condition where my face muscles don't flex the same way anymore. Come now.
Mrs. Edwards took me.
Is that a
inside the
real
house
thing?
and
I never knew that.
Or it did start raining like crazy. She showed me
Damn.
around the motel, which was just as creepy from the inside. And then we went into the dining
Oh
hall
my
where I met her
gosh.
husband, who seemed just as odd as his wife. And then, just as I was about to sit at the dinner table, this girl came out of nowhere and pushed me away. You can't sit here, you ugly toad. Why not? It's empty. Don't talk back to me. My house, my rules.
Ivy, can you please calm down? Lillian, why don't you sit next to me, dear? Now, Ivy, greet your sister nicely. We must make her feel welcome.
She is not welcome, and she is not my sister. And with that,
What the hell is wrong with her?
leaving Mrs. Edwards making excuses for her behavior. Mr. Edwards just shook his head apologetically. He clearly didn't talk much. After dinner, she showed me to my room, which was facing the freaking cemetery. I was so creeped out, I couldn't sleep at all. Finally, I got up to get some water from the kitchen.
If I was
found
sleeping
Ivy
at that
in her
part,
parents' bed
I
and stopped short to listen.
would
What's the matter with you?
just
Lillian must have felt
leave
so
the light
bad
on.
and unwelcome.
And how do you think I feel about this stranger living in my house?
We thought it would be nice for you to have some company.
I told you 100 times, I don't need company. I just want her gone. I crept away before anyone saw me. Great, I was unwanted already. Just my stupid luck. The next morning, I was pretty much prepared to head back to the orphanage, but instead, Mrs. Edwards told me she was enrolling me in Ivy's school. I thought I'd use this chance to bond with her, but she was cold as ice. Even in school, I noticed that she hardly spoke to anyone and just kept to herself. Thankfully, the other kids in my class were nicer, especially this one boy, Ben. We sat next to each other in class, and even ended up having lunch together. I was just telling him how I'd gotten adopted by the Edwards, and he almost spat out his food.
You're living with those whack jobs? The Edwards owned all the town's major motels, but then guests started vanishing mysteriously. Their motels closed, and they left town for a couple of years and just recently came back. Rumor has it that Mrs. Edwards practiced witchcraft and sacrificed those missing guests for some ritual.
That sounds completely ridiculous.
What the hell?
Mrs. Edwards seems like a perfectly nice woman.
Maybe they're just rumors, but it's not hard to see that the Edwards are an odd bunch. Just be careful.
I couldn't deny the facts. They
Ju-
were rather odd. For starters, I had
So what if they're just dressed like,
and he never
I don't
seemed
know,
to
like,
leave the house. Mrs. Edwards only went out at night
just
for
because
groceries
they
or
dress up
errands.
like that
When I
doesn't mean
asked
that
her why,
everybody,
she made some
hold on,
excuse about hating crowds, and I figured that she wanted to avoid people since the Edwards
Hold
weren't
on.
exactly well liked in
hold
town.
on. Just because like they're just dressed like that doesn't mean that everybody needs to start a rumor. Cause starting a rumor is kind of really bad. I never used to start a rumor. I just thought it was mean, to start a rumor. But yeah, starting a rumor is kind of bad. And just because the way that they dress doesn't mean that somebody needs to start a rumor being like, I don't know, it's just bad.
Wondered why they'd even moved back here. And there was that one room in the west wing of the motel that always had a huge padlock on it. One time, Mrs. Edwards caught me looking at it curiously, and she told me it was strictly out of bounds. It was clear from her face that questions weren't welcome, so I shut my mouth. One
Okay.
night, as I was studying late in my room, I heard someone talking in low voices outside. I peeked out a few seconds later to see Mrs. Edwards and Ivy walking down the hallway, and I couldn't stop myself from following them. They went up a spiral, narrow staircase to the rooftop, and as I watched them from a safe distance, they held hands and closed their eyes. Minutes after, Mrs. Edwards took out a huge flashlight from the bag she was carrying, and they started flashing it in a weird pattern. A chilly breeze made their nightgowns flail in the wind, and I couldn't help thinking that they kinda looked like witches. When they were done, Mrs. Edwards put down the flashlight, and the two hugged tight and cried. Do you think our message went through, Mom? I'm sure it did, honey. I left quietly before they could spot me. It was obvious they wanted to keep this a secret. But who could they possibly be sending messages to? What if they were summoning spirits? Wasn't it bad enough that we lived next to dead people?
A loaf of bread
Oh, sorry.
costs 50% more today than it did before the pandemic. Ground beef
Sorry. This is an ad. I'm sorry.
Enough that we lived next to dead people? The next day at school, I was walking into the cafeteria with Ben when I saw some girls surrounding Ivy and throwing their food at her. I was about to rush to her rescue, but she just ran out of there. I followed her into the bathroom, and I could hear her crying in one of the cubicles.
This annoys me any single time when I see someone bullying another. Cause like any single time when I watch like, I don't know, like bullies bullying other people, and it annoys me and it makes me feel like throwing my phone across the room, but I don't want to because my parents are gonna think like, hey, why are you throwing your phone across the room? I never used to be bullied, but I used to have a lot of fake friends back in my elementary school, and now I'm in middle school, and they used to be really mean to me. Like they used to get mad at me for the smallest things ever they can think of. And that's why like I get so annoyed when I see people like bullying other people. Like it makes me feeling like pulling their hair or like I don't know, like starting a fight or throwing my phone across the room. Like that annoys me a lot. That annoys me on the inside a lot.
Ivy, I saw what happened, and you don't have to put up with this. Come with me. We'll report it to the principal. The door suddenly flung open, and she pushed me out of her way.
Oh,
Her
shit.
eyes red. Why do you care? It's not like you don't think I'm a weirdo, just like everyone else. I'm sure you've heard all the rumors about our family. Maybe we are weird, and maybe I am crazy. And that's why I'm all alone, and always will be. No, you won't. I'll be there for you. If you let me, I don't care about any rumors, and I don't believe them. I like you guys, and who cares if you're a bit weird? Normal's boring. Ivy looked surprised, then gave me a weak smile. We reported the bullies to the principal, and after that day, she started warming up to me, and she was actually fun to be around. She was also really smart and beat me in every round of Scrabble and